Friends and viewers, Silence, the novel by Shusaku Endo. Shusaku Endo had written this outstanding novel, The Silence. So, The Silence tells the story of Sebastian Rodriguez. Sebastian Rodriguez, a young Jesuit priest in Portugal in 1637, he set out for Japan alongside two priest companions. They planned to go to Japan both to do missionary work and to find out the truth about their teacher, Cristóvão Freire, a well-respected missionary and theologian in Japan who has recently been shamed because of his apostasy. So, in Japan, the Christians live under heavy persecution and are often tortured into apostasy. In Macau, Rodriguez and his companion Garpi make the acquaintance of Kichijiro, a Japanese man who knows Christians that practice their faith in secret. He is shifty and an alcoholic, but the best choice for a guide that Garpi and Rodriguez have. They arrive in Japan in a small town called Tomogi near Nagasaki. Here, Rodriguez and Garpi administer their faith from a secret hut high up a hill. Things go tolerably well if cold and hungry for a while, but soon Rodriguez's faith is tested. Two Christians from the village, when asked to apostatize, refuse. They are then left in the ocean on stakes to die of exhaustion. Rodriguez begins to question why God is silent in the face of this horrible suffering of his followers. Garpi and Rodriguez part ways. While Rodriguez is streaking through mountainous village, he happens upon Kochijiro, who escaped death alongside the two Japanese Christians by apostatizing. He begs for forgiveness for his weakness, which Rodriguez reluctantly grants. Soon thereafter, he betrays Rodriguez by turning him over the Christian hunting official. Rodriguez is jailed along with several Japanese Christians. He meets with an interpreter who urges him to apostatize, but Rodriguez refuses. Rodriguez is taken to another prison. There he meets Inouye, the local magistrate, who is much feared for his gruesome torture method. Inouye appeared to be a kindly old man who tries to convince Rodriguez to apostatize because the Christianity of Japan can never put down solid roots. He claims that the land is fundamentally inhospitable to the religion. Still, Rodriguez will not apostatize. When one of the Christians is murdered for not apostatizing, Rodriguez again questions why God has not stepped forward. The remaining Christians in the village are taken out to sea and drowned for not apostatizing. Garpi, who has reappeared, tries to save them but drowns. In his heat, Rodriguez contemplates telling Garpi to apostatize to save them, but cannot bring himself to say it. He is once more horrified by God's silence at this massacre. Rodriguez falls into a deep depression and eventually is taken to meet Ferreira. Ferreira has apostatized and is in fact writing a book of refuting Christianity. He too tells Rodriguez to apostatize. Ultimately, Rodriguez does apostatize. He is taken to a dank prison, and in the night he hears the mourning of Christian in the pit and a brutal torture method. Frira visits him and tells him that he himself spent 3 days in the pit and apostatized because God did nothing to help the other victims. The next morning, after Christ speaks to Roderick and tells him to trample on his face, Roderick successfully apostatizes. After he is confined to a certain home for a while until Inoue figure out what to do with him, and ultimately is sent to Edo to assume the name, property, and wife of dead man. There he lives out the rest of his days, dying at the age of 64. The last 2 chapters of the book are written from the perspective of a young Dutch clerk in Nagasaki and a diary of a member of Roderick's household when he is older. So this is the story of The Silence. It is published in 1966 and is often regarded as Indo's finest achievement. It won the Tanizaki Prize in Japan the year it was published. Silence tells the story of a young Portuguese priest sent to Japan in 1600 when Christians in Japan are being heavily persecuted. The narrator sees suffering all around him and questions his faith and a very belief in God's existence. Above all, God's silence reigns supreme. The novel is a fictionalized account of a real event that took place in Japan following a golden period of Christianity, a time period in which remaining Christians were persecuted and tortured in a largely successful attempt to rid Japan of foreign influence. A Japanese film version was released in 1971, while a new adaptation by American director Martin Scorsese is planned for. So this is the story of The Silence, this novel by a famous Japanese writer, Shusaku Endo, The Silence. I hope you will enjoy this novel. Thank you.